Five things great parents do differently. You're welcome to Artist Day Life, and my name is Wendy Ologe, and I'm the founder of the Intentional Parent Academy. If this is your first time of joining me on a Tuesday Life, let me see your comment right in the comment section, and let me see where you have invited someone to this session today. Can you see my t-shirt? Yes, I just came back from Uyo over the weekend. And yes, this is one of the t-shirts that I got in Uyo. Yes, and by the way, this is my quote, and it was printed all over on t-shirts of parents in the inner circle. What's a true carnival? Shout out again to Uyo parents, right? And shout out to the Inside Bible Church and Brainy High Schools. So today we're looking at five things great parents do differently. What are those five things that parents who are great do differently? So one of the very major thing that I have realized is that our parenting is a product of who we eventually, our children will eventually become. So we are a product of what our parents have also given us today. So, many of the times we don't even know who we are because we're not even thinking it through. Today at the Master Your Emotions Challenge, I shared with the parents in that challenge on self awareness, and it was a sobering moment. I don't know if you're here. Hi, mom. My mom is here. I don't know if you were at the Master Your Emotions Challenge this morning, and you can share your experience right in the comment section. All right, so invite your family, your friends. We're going to be learning those five things great parents do differently. Number one thing that great parents do differently is very number one thing is emotions management. All right, emotions management is one key aspect of your journey that encompasses everything that your child is doing. Many people who are exceptional parents have the extras. Now, what is greatness? Greatness is about doing something differently. All right, greatness is about not doing things that are ordinary. So, what makes extraordinary an extraordinary thing is the extra that you put on it. So, it is that extra that we are talking about, the extra that these parents do. What is that thing that they are doing that is making them raise people who are more creative? And today I was talking about and sharing how you can tap into the creativity of your child, all right, into to be able to also create. So, and this is a place of being able to, work on your emotions. Of course, this is not what this conversation is about. But just know that understanding who you are emotionally and understanding how to manage your emotions makes all of the difference for your children. And it is, it's a game changer. And today I said something. I said parents who are self-unaware will raise children who have self-doubt. You're never going to be able to believe in yourself. A lot of us have issues with self doubt because we were raised with unaware parents, all right? Parents who didn't know who they were, all right? And parents who didn't understand where they are coming from, of course, all right? And that was one of the big thing that we took out from that session today. Excuse me. So when you are unaware of who you are emotionally, you're going to raise children who have self-esteem issues, who have doubt. So many times I've seen people. I've been in so many programs, both internationally and locally, and every time that I have a mix of people from Africa and people from the different parts of the world, I realize that these syndrome of being able to second guess yourself, it is more in us than it is in any other system in the world. And I started to look at it, I started to review it. This was coming from the place how we were raised, uh, with a lot of self-doubt. So there have been a lot of critical thinking, critical mindset on our processes. And then self-doubt comes really easily, right? That doesn't mean that all over the world we do not have those challenges, but we have the challenge of self-doubt because of the kind of parenting that we have. I was looking at the documentary of the Chinese children, and I saw where they were taught to manufacture things, create things, and their parents were. There are industries in every single home, in every small home. There is the ability to move. The parents understand that they can, in their small enclave, in their small houses, they can produce things and sell it to the world. Is one of the amazing things that I have seen. So there's this confidence because they have this awareness that they have tapped into their cognitive awareness so much, their ability to actually create so much that it has changed even their children. So their children are so young, they're already, creating stuff. They already, they you see a family, they run a business that they run a business that sell, let's say, candles all over the world, and they're producing it just at their backyard. So there's that self-awareness that parents have been able to actually, tap into that have affected the children. So you find that quite a number of us, we listen to you travel all over the country. You see that these people are they're talking nonsense and they believe in the nonsense they're talking about. But we know so much, but we can't come out because we have been raised by people who are not self aware. And then they now begin to pass on this self doubt to us. So, self doubt is an inherent thing in this part of the world. Reasons are very straightforward, very simple. Our parenting actually does that a lot. So it is important that we become emotionally aware, emotion management, where we are able to know who we are. So when we talk about emotional management, I'm sure that the parents who registered for Master Your Emotion Challenge were really thinking that, oh, by the way, you can join Master Your Emotion Challenge and catch replays. The room is on fire. We have almost 800 parents, fire, room. People are not able to talk after the class today because it's tapping deeply into it. And when you hear emotions management, a lot of us think that it's about not being able to get angry. A lot of us think that it's about when your children are doing something, you should keep quiet. We don't even understand that emotions management is about understanding who we are. It goes beyond just reactivity. It goes beyond just what you're saying. It is about me, it's about us, how to recognize us. And we realize that because our parents didn't have this emotions management, so they also lacked self-awareness. Self-awareness is an integral part of emotions management. So in emotions management, you're becoming more self-aware. You're going to also raise children who are self-aware. I have never seen parents who are not self-aware raising children who are self-aware, except when they now grow to become adults, they begin to maybe go on a journey of self-awareness, which is one of the things that you can do for your generation. When in the morning, when Auntie Tima was sharing on her My Intentional Parenting Journey, I said something. Whatever it is that you make optional in this generation becomes non-existent in the next. So what happens is that you have that problem. You have self-doubt. You're going to also replicate self-doubt as you're going, to your children. Your children are also going to have this same self-doubt because you are unaware and you pass doubts even in their abilities without knowing that that's what you're doing. So emotions management is one key aspect that great parents do differently. They are able to look at their emotions and this can be that here. So for me, my emotions management and emotional intelligence is the most important part of my journey. And I was talking to the parents this morning at the Master Your Emotions, and I said there are three things that gives you access to peace, power, and prosperity. And if you're not able to manage your emotions, forget it. You're not able to actually tap into these three things. Number two thing that the parents that are great parents do differently is disciplinary management and behavioral management. Disciplinary management and behavioral management. Now, I have come to realize that there is no success in parenting without knowing how to carry discipline appropriately. Because discipline is a core. Discipline is a key aspect. All right, discipline is a key aspect of your journey. Discipline is everything. If you raise children who are in discipline, you're going to regret it. Now, the problem now, this is the thin line. The parents who are not journeying, think that, okay, yes, I know that discipline is important, but I'm going to kill my child if my child doesn't do this. Now that's it, you breaking. So instead of making, you're breaking. Discipline is supposed to make, not break. But because of what we know about discipline, we try to break, not make, because we do not have a true grasp of what discipline is. So I have, been opportune to write so many books on discipline, and this is one of the best works I've written on discipline, discipline that works. Because I realized that many parents, yes, understand that discipline is important. So that's why you see quotes like, if you want, don't remove discipline. Your children are going to become useless. If you want, right? So the problem is our definition of discipline management and behavioral management. So there are three things that I have seen, right? There are three things I have seen in our discipline strategy. When you talk about discipline, what comes to mind is, I want my child to be obedient, I want my child to be quiet, I want my child to be good. Let me say that again. When you hear about discipline, one of the things that come to your mind is that you want your child to be obedient, you want your child to be quiet, you want your child to be good. You see, these three aspects is not necessarily a good thing. I know that they are going to say, Coach, have come again. Why would she say that these things are not a good thing? It's not so our interpretation of discipline and behavioral management in this regard, these three things is a killer, not an advantage. So your child is having a behavioral issue, and you're thinking, obedience is what it is that I need to solve this problem. Sometimes you're telling your children, can't you be quiet? Because you think that quietness is a solution to behavioral issues. Or you're telling your children, you need to be good, you need to present yourself in a certain way because you're thinking that that is what discipline management is about. And in this subject matter, that is not a good thing. Put me in context. Obedience, quietness, goodness is not a good thing when it comes to behavioral management and disciplinary management. So if your aim is to raise children who are obedient, and that is how you're going to manage behavioral issues, you're already on your way to making an error. Because in managing behavioral issues, it's about building people. It's not about show. These three things is focused on the output. It's not focused on the person that they are becoming. So my new book, Raising Discipline is Not an Emergency. I was able to tap into the system of what it is that I'm sharing with you today. In my book, Raising the Independent Thinking Child, one of the things I wrote is that discipline is not the goal in parenting. It's not. That's not the goal. Because when you are managing emotions, when you are disciplined, the aim is to build people. It's not for show. Quietness. My children are very quiet. They don't make noise. They don't really engage. They don't know why it is that and all of that. They're just quiet. And every time I hear that, I'm like, is that what it means to be able to make people? So we need to move away from the things we think we know to being open to actually begin to hit those things that we think we know. So we need to accept and understand what managing behavior is, and which is to build a child. Let me take on goodness. Many of us think that once my child is good, then my child do not need any other thing. So you hear parents when I say, have you registered in the inner circle? And then you hear, oh, my children do not have any issue. Wow. So because for us, behavioral management building, disciplinary management is about people who have issues. Meanwhile, this is a system that builds the total person. It's not about people who are already having issues. It's about people that you are actually building. And I've said this over and again that your children can be good and useless, as in they won't be useful. If you read the parable of the foolish virgins, I'm always talking about it. In fact, I dissected the parable of the foolish virgins in this book in an amazing way. The what ifs. So you will find out that it is not the conversation in parenting is not about good and bad. It's actually a conversation of foolishness and wisdom. The foolishness you apply or the wisdom you apply. There's no untrained child. People say, oh, children are untrained, and there's no untrained child. It is either a child who is trained with a particular template that you have when you know, and the other one who is trained with another template. Every child is trained. The question will be, what are they trained with? What are they trained with? So your content is an important aspect of you. So disciplinary management and behavioral management isn't about raising good or bad children. It isn't about, great parents do things differently, and great parents raise children who are good. No, no, no. Great parents raise children who can thrive. They're two different conversations. It's not children who are good, because goodness in itself do not have the ability to deliver on anything. So your child being good in that process is not really the issue. It is what can they deliver on. So goodness is that's what people say, oh, why is it that bad thing happens to good people? No, 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 no. There's nothing like that. Goodness is not a skill in itself. Is goodness good? Yes, don't get me wrong. I am I'm a child of God, I'm a minister of the gospel, whatever it is. But goodness is not a skill. Goodness is not a skill. So you can raise a child who is a body and yet good. So you can see that conversation on disciplinary management for great parents and behavioral management isn't a conversation, right, of goodness and badness, whatever it is, or quietness and not and being, that's why, because we do not understand it, that's why you see a child who is, not quiet. You tell yourself, right? You tell yourself that, oh, this child, right, is going to become useless just because they are not quiet, they are not calm, because you have refused to recognize that that's not what behavioral management delivers on. So it's that delivery we're talking about. You see a child, say, this child is so good. Everything it's about this child is so beautiful, it's so good. The child can be good and suffer on earth. So there are too many children, yes, who are good but can't deliver on behavioral management. They have character issues, but they are good because their parents didn't understand that this conversation is not about good and bad, it's about foolishness and wisdom. So, do you really have that wisdom? What it takes to be able to deliver as a great parent? So, great parents understand disciplinary management and and behavioral management. And discipline is not an emergency. The team is raising discipline, parenting in a disciplined way. They're two different things. It's not about children who are being. It's about a process. So, discipline is a system. Discipline is not a being. Is a system, is a system in itself. So it's important, all right, that we begin to look at some of these things to be able to understand where it is that we're going. So you need wisdom as a parent to deliver on discipline management and behavioral management as an issue. Number three of the things that you must, great parents do differently is autonomy and independence. The more dependent your child becomes, the more stressful your journey is. So great parents understand that being independent is the goal. I have seen a lot of people, and yes, when I in that book, discipline is not an emergency. I shared out systems, skills, structures. These are the things that affect your journey. This is actually what the real discipline is. But because of what we've been told, we were told that discipline is giving one child one backhand. I've seen children that have been beaten, yet they are not useful. They're not useful to their parents, they're not useful to the society. Even the ones that claim to be useful, I've seen them. When I look at them, I'm like, really? And that's what we come up with. But we turned out okay. Did we really? Conversation for another day. Autonomy and independence. These parents understand autonomy. These parents understand being able to give autonomy. Now, autonomy starts from day one. The day a child is born, the child become an autonomy person. Great parents understand it. Great parents understand that autonomy is something that starts from the day a child breathes the first the first breathing. People ask me, how do you raise an independent thinking child if you have a baby? That's why I wrote this book. Because even your baby should be independent thinking because they are a human being. So, unfortunately, what we have today is that there are a lot of dependent children. Yeah, you heard me right. Our children are so dependent, especially in this part of the world. I've said before that we actually parent our children to become dependent in this part of the world. So we beat our children so much into obedience, we domesticate them, they begin to follow, and then we do not raise children who are skilled. It's in Africa that I'm still seeing people say that a child ironing at 6 is wrong. That's why I'm still saying it. It's in Africa I'm still seeing people say, hey, 6-year-old, oh, they can cook, hey. And we watch Chop Junior every day. And I see 5-year-olds whooping and baking all sorts. It's in this part of the world that we question, all right? That we question the process of a child picking up things. Oh, our children are so dependent. It's in this part of the world I see a 30-year-old live in their parents' house proudly and even demand and entitled. It is in this part that meanwhile, we come out and we pride ourselves as we're very disciplined people. In fact, our discipline it has a button on the floor. But our children are so unskilled. We have a lot of, we have a lot of children today who are dependent on the system. Your 5-year-olds, your 6-year, we start too late. I was watching a documentary. If you've not watched that documentary that's Ronaldo, yeah, please go and sit down and go and watch that documentary. He started playing football at 2. But in our climb, yeah, my 2-year-old, is going to die. One of the problems is that David Beckham. One of the problems is that, thank you so much, Mrs. Notch. One of the problems is that we don't start early. We don't. So the child is not 40, like, hey, what is this child going to? So we are always looking as if we are baby children. We do not understand when we're raising adults. We're raising adults. So how do you compete with a Beckham, for instance? On what scale to what scale? For a child who starts right? For a child who starts at 2, how do you, that's what discipline means. How do you compete? See, our children cannot compete because these people have over 10,000 mastery rules. We can't compete. We can't compete. So we domesticate people in the name of parents, in the name of discipline, and we can't deliver. But here we are celebrating a David Beckham, but your 2-year-old cannot pick their cup. 2-year-old cannot pick their cup. It's the same thing we're talking about. We've already written the book on it. We start so late. We start, somebody, gladly puts on Facebook, this one that 6-year-old are ironing. I better go. Even my 14-year-old is not ironing. And yet we want to deliver a word where our children's counterpart are starting from their stomach to become. Where do we start? Even being born again, we start late. We become born again when we have finished walking about. Nobody tells us about salvation, spirituality. When we are now turning 30, sometimes 40, that's when you're giving your life to Christ. And that's when you're now shouting, God, double the year, double the year. Double which year? Well, it's in Nigeria that you hear those prayers. Give me, increase the years, collapse the years for me. It's in this part of the world. That's why we pray those kind of prayers. Collapsing. We're always collapsing years. Why? Because we are not starting. We don't start anything on time. We don't understand that children can. That children can. Even from day one. That children can. So instead of us to do what we need to do, we are busy waiting for when we start praying for collapsing of years. They will say, who wants to collapse years? Prayer point. People will rush. Why are we collapsing years? Why are we even praying that prayer point? Because we are not even starting when we should. We're here screaming, parents need to do this for their children. You need to start now. You need to take away that. We pray all sorts of prayers that we do not need to pray. All sorts. Because we're starting late. We do not understand what to do. In fact, it was when I started watching Chuck Jr. that I realized that my 5-year-old can cook. What are we talking about? What are we talking about? It's as if we are, we're just starting and our children, let them finish school. Yes, that's how we say it. Let them finish school. I'm sure God is even tired and saying, this country, they're always looking for God, the years that I have lost, the years that the canker worm have eaten. Canker worm is always eating our years. Always. Because we're not doing what we need to do with our years. Your child is born, you're not thinking, there's no plan, there's no template. In 30 years, you're asking for collapsing of years. Why? Why are we collapsing years? Why can't we look at the windows of opportunities and begin to? That's why God has given us a brain. Why can't we plan? Why can't we look at the things, the journey we're going on? Somebody took a David Beckham, looked at him and said, this is what I want this child to do. This is what this child should do when it comes to impact. The child starts now. It starts now. We believe that when we give our children time, don't stress the child. Why you people always say, why can they their parents don't do it, they are sleeping, their mates are doing it. No. The next kings of the world are being raised already. They are not being flogged, they are being raised, they are being trained. Because somewhere in our head, we think that we are, going to just beat our children and then they become good. And then what? Then that's the inability. Goodness can't deliver. And then we're just there. We have a lot of good people, and then what? Oh, it's the same place that when goodness failed to begin to deliver, hypocrisy enters, and then we begin to put our hands in so many things. So many things. So we need to begin to look at autonomy and independence as a key aspect. You can see how I got fired up on this topic because it is a call for us in the inner circle. Because I see us majoring in minors, minoring in major. A child is supposed to be walking the journey or being built or becoming or being skilled. We're there shouting, hey, you did not make nice. You ate nice. Ah, you jumping up and down. You're slapping your child. You're even bragging. What are they telling me? All these things that you're teaching us, like when my child does something, I give him back at the bullseye. Well done. Oh shame. And at the end of the day, this same child, what can they do? Just be good. That's it. Stop majoring in minor. Stop minoring in your majors. So when we pride ourselves in Africa and say, oh, we're very disciplined best people, I look at them like, are you guys kidding? The next kings of the world are being trained. They're not being flogged. They're not being abused. There are children who will never go through the kind of all this kind of trauma. Us, we are still trying to get ourselves, we are still trying to understand self-awareness, heal from self-doubt. By the time you are finished, the years that have been collapsed have collapsed. You will even find the years. You will even have it. That's why the Bible says that in your youth there is what to do. Time and chance. There is something. There is a time to plant. There is a plan. No matter how much God is going to collapse years, according to my pastor, Bishop Oyedepo, you cannot play football at age 50. No matter how your age is collapsed. Collapse years all you want. A certain time will come and you can't do some of these things. And if you lose the windows of opportunity per time, your child begin to struggle. So this collapsing of years, all this collapsing of years, forget it. Let's do what we need to do. Let's do what we need to do today. So that we stop saying all this, hey, parenting has no manner. The people are running with the manual. You are there shouting parenting. Who told you so? Parenting has no manual. Which you are parenting? Parenting has no manual. Leave all these things that they are telling you. Hey, and the world is moving. The world is moving. The kings have been trained. And you're still there. Hey, I usually say that it's either you raise a king or you raise a slave. The choice is yours. The choice is yours. Your inability to actually do a lot of things is you raising a slave already. It's not a cause. There are some things your child doesn't learn at a certain age. No matter how you collapse years, it becomes a struggle. The struggle we need for life. The struggle we need for life. We need to stand up from this kind of parenting we're doing. Salama, whether I can, I cannot. Whatever it is, I can. I beg you. Let's not drag our children. What is it that they are saying? Let their children be doing whatever. Somebody told me, the child is ironing at 6. So when I started cooking, somebody said when I started cooking, I was 18 already. And today I own a restaurant. So even though I didn't know how to cook until I became 18, I now own restaurants. Look at the kind of things we see. Restaurant. Our counterparts are running the world, ruling the world. Ruling the world. We're still saying, after all, me, I didn't have to learn those things. But look at where I am. I don't know who is telling us that, we have arrived. I don't know who is telling us. I don't know who is deceiving us on that. Wake up today. So when we are saying, right? When we're saying that there is away. When we say it's actually an urgent thing. Parents need to run with the sense of urgency. With a sense of urgency. We're talking about brands that have run for years. You're talking about running a restaurant that is in Makoti. Are you joking? Is that what we're talking about? And then we're just and then we actually peddle these things like it is okay, it's the correct thing. And the child will learn when it is that they will learn. If you've not gotten to a point where you are able to count your costs, correct your mistakes, you will continue in that circle for life. Oh yeah, but yeah, telling yourself that it doesn't really matter. This one that coach is telling us, all these ones. After all, me, I'm doing okay. What is okay for you? What is the meaning of that? What is the meaning of that? We can't run global brands. We can't run legacies. We can't run, big brands because we start when we start safe to even go for training becomes a problem because we don't even understand what it takes. Autonomy and independence. Don't raise children who are dependent in the name of you want your children to be obedient. Don't raise children who are, who settle in mediocrity. A lot of us have settled in mediocrity so much that we now count mediocrity as success. And when people try to give me an illusion of, oh, you've done so well and all of that, I'm like, that, the world seeks for you to deliver at a certain level. We don't even get there. Many of us in Africa don't even get that at that delivery level. We don't even get there because we don't start early, and then we think we have all the time. You think we have all the time. Meanwhile, these guys are running on their toes. These guys are running on horses. You that is running on foot, you think you can catch them. Then you now on top of running on foot and say, these horses that I beg, I can just be strolling and be coming. Oshe. The next one is these parents are focused on education and learning. I didn't say going to school. When you learn more, your children become better for it. When you learn more, your children become better for it. The more you learn, the more you open your eyes to the things that are not there. How do you know what you don't know? It was at the team that I was saying it this morning. How do you exactly know the thing? When we say, oh, come and learn, you say, I know it. How do you know that you know it? How do you know that you know it? Let's not peddle nonsense on our journey just in the name of, some kind of ego that doesn't even exist. When you learn more, you become better. Your education system as a great parent is viewed differently. So it's not school. When you go and look at the tech giants, you find out that many of them are highly educated, some of them do not have a degree. Do you know why? Their parents understood education and learning. It was not about just going to school. So when they said, we need to drop off from school and focus on this thing, it made more sense. It made more sense. In this part of the world, we don't understand how to even educate our process, how to learn through our process. So everything is, you came in, you passed exam today. I was, having a conversation, we're doing reviews in the inner circle. And one of the things that, and I'm trying to get others, inner circle parents to understand, is to squash this mentality of, I passed, and I went to the next class. And then it's a killer. Is it that we're not supposed to go to next class? No, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about your system and in the whole thing, in your what you understand to to be education. Do you know that there are illiterate parents who are highly educated? Ah, yeah, yeah. I was doing a review, and I was trying to do review of illiterate people who raised great people. So when we say you need to learn, people say things like, ah, but this person didn't go to school. How did they become this person? I was reading about one of the politicians, the models in Nigeria, right? And I was listening to their father's story, Chief Modu himself, and I heard him talk about how he was always going to the missionaries to understand how education worked outside of Nigeria. And he kept putting money together to get his children educated in a certain way. He was not literate. You don't need to be literate to be educated. And he raised giants, people who are in different spheres of life. You don't need to be educated to raise a giant. So I usually say that novices don't raise geniuses. People think it's about school. So when I say, people say, what are people that didn't go to school? What of Benkasi's mother that didn't go to school? Go and read the history of Benkasi's mother. She's more educated than you and I. So education goes beyond, right? Beyond the things that you are, the school, the certificate you're garnering. I have seen doctors, professors who are not educated when it comes to their system. They're just certificate holders. So when we say a novice, we're not saying an illiterate. They're two different things. Again, novices do not raise geniuses. There is something that you know, there's something that is extra. That's what makes a genius an extraordinary person. This is so important for us to know. And the more you learn, the more you actually help your children become better. I usually say that your children is a product of what it is that you know really, many of the times. So what do you know? What is your content? You don't need to be literate. Education goes beyond school, certificates, and one of the things that parenting does, if you are open, is that it re-engineers your educational process. It re-engineers your learning process. It re-engineers, opens your mind to a lot. And every time I teach on Tuesday Life and I say, inner circle parents know what I'm talking. In fact, this class I'm sharing now, if an inner circle parent is assimilating it at a degree of 100 over 100, you're probably assimilating that at a 5% of 100. It looks like, what did she say? But that's the truth. You will have a deeper understanding of this thing now that I'm sharing that looks like, oh, yes, it's a free class. But for an inner circle parent, it's much more than what you're listening to. Because there is a system of learning. Today, I was talking about being able to learn to someone, to a family. I met a family in counseling recently that is, up there and all of that, shared their into coaching and all of that. By the time I was done, they were sober for like 10 minutes and didn't say a word. And they said, we didn't know that there's anything superior when it comes to this environment of coaching. How do you know what you don't know? How do you know what you don't know? So it is that place where you're learning. Yeah. So I said today in the Master Emotions Challenge class, I said when we say go and do self-reflection, a lot of people say, yes, let me go. What are you self-reflecting on? The knowledge that's already inside. There's nothing to self-reflect on. In fact, when you join the inner circle, even the preaching you hear on the altar, you are able to conceptualize it in a better way. So when you hear preaching about collapsing of years, you will think about it in a way that will help you. not just in the way that you're shouting, yeah, bang, or you shall tell them. Who is the them? And then we're going to the last one. Parents who great parents, what they do differently is that they are able to build skills, and these skills are in a different aspect: relationship skills, spirituality skill, different aspects of building skills. There are different aspects of skill building, and most importantly, excuse me, is spirituality skills. All right, where social skills, emotional skills. So they are skill builders. They understand that they are a curriculum. Great parents understand that anything we do is a curriculum for our children to follow. So when they step in the water, they get that this is a curriculum. When they say something, they get that this is a curriculum. So they have a culture and a curriculum, a system that works out a community. So systems, community, and curriculum. System, community, culture, and curriculum. Sorry, culture, community, and curriculum. Culture, community, and curriculum, and content. Four of them. Content, culture, community, and curriculum. So they understand that they are custodians of these four things. That the content that their children are able to get in that system will be according to what it is that they know. They understand that the community, the environment that they create, right? And they understand that they become a legacy, not their children. Great parents understand that they are a legacy. All this, my child is my legacy. My child is my everything. Forget it, your child is not your legacy. Conversation for another day. And that's one of the inner circle webinars, building your family legacy. So they get into that space where they understand that the content is me. I am the deliverer of the culture. I am the deliverer of the community. Do you know that the kind of community you build for your child is a great determining factor? Today I was sharing with the masterpiece women on how environment is a determining factor to your spiritual growth. If no matter how hot you are, if they put you inside the freezer, you're going to become cold. So environment, community becomes a big part. Great parents understand how to navigate their culture, their community, their content, and their curriculum. They get that this content and this curriculum go hand in hand, and they are the ones. It's not another person. When you begin to understand it, then you understand this what is written here. That parenting is about you. So you work on your system that is made up of content, culture, community, and curriculum. This is a key aspect of being a great parent. So of course, this is a key aspect. But I'm going to run through the questions that you should ask yourself to know where you are on your journey. Number one, is my home safe for my child? Emotional safety. I'm not talking about, my home is safe, is locked with padlock. No. Is my home that place that my child can relax? Is that my home? Emotional safety. Emotional safety. Excuse me. Number two, am I abusing my child? How do I even know whether I'm abusing my child or not? Do you indicate in any way that your child has become a burden to you? All these school fees are paid for you. Do you know how much I'm paying in fees? You are here behaving anyhow. These things, everything I do, I've even stopped doing this because of you. You are indicating that this child has become a burden without even knowing it. Number two, is your child afraid of you? We brag about our children. My children are afraid of me. What are you talking about? They come near me and I just give them buzzwords. Or they tell me anything, I just slap them from behind. Do you give your children mark in the name of discipline? Do you beat your children in the name of discipline? So if you are still that parent who is still, your discipline is about behave well, sit down here, be good. There's something wrong with that journey of becoming that great parent. Is your child timid? Your child has self-esteem issues. They cannot um, talk for themselves. They cannot do what it is. They can't even question what it is that is going on. All right. Um, are they timid? You know what timidity is? It's a sign that you need to watch out for. Can your child challenge you respectfully? Those of us who have even preteens who can say no, mom, or no, dad, this is not it. Can that happen? Can my child say no to me without you getting flustered? Do you criticize and judge more than you praise in your parenting? Is your parenting full of criticisms, full of corrections, full of, just always giving instructions? This is you. Do I hug and touch my children regularly? Is for you to answer. Do I say I love them? Oh, they just know that you love them. They just know. They have to know. I don't have to say it now. They know that I love them. If you don't, then there's a problem. How much time do I spend with my child? Many of the times, we say we are spending time with our children, but when we really look at it, are we really spending time with them? Many times you see a parent, they're on their phone and they are scrolling, through everywhere. They're just scrolling and they're just scrolling and they're just watching. And then you realize that, oh, okay, I'm not really spending time. Do I have a secure family environment? That's another thing. Remember that I said that environment can swallow you up. Environment can swallow you up. It doesn't matter how hot you are, it doesn't matter how good you are. An environment that is not good for you can actually swallow you up. Do I take care of me? Self care. Do I take care of me? What are the things that I am supposed to be doing for me? Today when I ended the class in emotional intelligence, I said we need to, extend grace. We need to begin to learn to look out for ourselves. Because if you cannot deal with you, if you cannot look out for yourself, you can't raise that person you're supposed to raise. And being able to extend grace to ourselves is something we didn't learn. We don't know how to rest. We don't know how to, take care of ourselves. We don't know how to just look at ourselves and say, I deserve this. Is in the inner circle self you teach parents, and I'll say, how many times have you really sat down to put a plate of food, eat on a dining table, eat properly, you find out that you don't even extend such grace to yourself. How is my marriage? Your marriage is a determining factor to what it is, the environment that you're building. All right. I shared a lot on environment. Okay. I think that's in Sex Educate Your Child Like a Pro, Volume 3. I shared a lot on environment and all of the things that you need to do. And let me end with this. Change is noiseless. Every second your child is growing. Anything you are not doing now, you're on your own. Because your child is going to grow. Your child is going to, you know, your child is going to be trained. Whether you're training them intentionally or not, there will be a training going on. I've shared these things so that you can introspect on what your journey is and how your journey is right now. And I charge you, please join a parenting academy. Start with the Master Your Emotions Challenge. All right? Start with the Master Your Emotions Challenge. And make sure that you are in that space. All right? You can catch replays. It's still ongoing. This is the details on my screen. Okay? Get it there. It's going to help you to think. It's going to help you. A lot of us are not thinking. We're not thinking through our process. We're just going by. We're just going by. And things are just happening. Because time is the currency of destiny, The destiny of our children are actually embedded in what we do with the time that we have. We're waiting for that kairos moment when everything, oh, you just take your child, you just do, wow, your child is now that superstar. What are we doing with the chronos moment? The chronos is the passage of time. Kairos is that time and moment. What are we doing with the passage of time? What are we doing with today? Instead of waiting for that 25-year-old that is a superstar, what are we doing with the chronos? And I urge every parent who is listening to me today, go back and watch that documentary on David Beckham. It's going to give you an idea of when I say that we don't need prayer on collapsing years. You will get it. You will understand that we can start today and start working on the years instead of waiting for 30 when we collapse the years. All right, we're currently reading this book in level one of the inner circle, raising the independent thinking child. And this book is a game changer. You can start by getting the books. All our books are available on Amazon. We have Connect, Correct. We have Resolving Sibling Rivalry. We have Walking Your Child Through Puberty. It comes with a workbook. We have From Yelling to Calm. We have Sex Educate Your Child Like a Pro, Volume 1 and 2. We have the Parenting Launch Plan. We call it our Parenting Manual. We have How to Love Your Child More. There's so much to learn on parenting that no one class. Even if you listen to Tuesday Live every day for the next 5 years, if you do not have a structure and a system that actually makes learning, refines learning, you won't be able to deliver because even crude oil, nothing in its original state, nothing in its raw form delivers value. Because even gold needs to be refined, purified to deliver what it is it needs to deliver. Even crude oil at its original state, without being refined, it's a problem. Even your child at its original state, without being refined, cannot deliver. So anything that is not refined is not it's not worthy. So you need that refining process. And that's what it is. You need knowledge that is refined. You need knowledge that is curated. You need knowledge that is refined into wisdom. That's how you get wisdom. Refining knowledge and then it becomes wisdom. Because that's the practicality of the whole system. All right. So you can get copies of our books in all of our distributors in all over the country. Or you can buy from Amazon, is a straight delivery, Amazon copies, and you'll get your books delivered to you. All right. What time is the EI class and on which platform? The EI class is 8 o'clock every morning, and there is replay every day. All of our courses come with replay, but it's not 8 o'clock, 10 o'clock. All right, every morning, and you 1 hour, 15 minutes, they will do 1 hour, 20 minutes, and we will rush. All right. So usually we do 1 hour. Yeah, yesterday we did 1 hour and 1 hour 20 minutes max, and you are able to go through the process. And there's a worksheet every day for you to go through, right? So you want to get into the EI course and even begin to manage your emotions. Start from there, all right, and then get into the inner circle. We've been talking about the inner circle for years, and for the past 1 year, starting on the 1st of December. The good thing is you can always book now and spread your payment for the inner circle now, and then pay full before the end of the year. The bad news is if you don't book now, we might not have a slot for you. And the moment it's 1st of December, you won't be able to get it. It's not from the place of we don't want to collect your money. No, we want your money. But it's from the place of why we collect your money. We want your transformational journey. So if you're not able to join 1st of December, before the first and get onboarded on the first, which is our induction day, then you will not be able to actually join the next cohort. All right, and the slots are fast finishing up. If it finishes, we're going to close registration, and this applies, across board. We're going to close registration because we do not want to get overwhelmed. We want to do this, session and be sane doing it. All right, because we like structure, we like systems, and we like to deliver on what it is that we're promised to deliver for you. So join the inner circle is 100,000 naira a year for a single slot, or 170,000 naira a year for a couple slot. I was in Uyo this weekend, and a pastor in the church that I ministered came to me and said, "Ah, I heard about the inner circle, during the conference. It was 70,000 naira." And I was just diddy dallying. I was saying, "What are they even going to teach me?" So she said, I found another parenting academy. I joined, and then when they now told me that the fee for a year is 2 million, that's when I just took the 100,000, paying extra 30,000. I said, I just took the 100,000 and I paid in peace, so that I know, so sometimes you don't even know the word until you are, out there asking questions and understanding what it is that you're going to get. For the what of what you get in the inner circle, if you pay that anywhere, you cannot even get 100 of what it is that you get in the inner circle. The inner circle will change the game for you. It is an arc, like the inner circle parents will say, a resting place in this time. Thank you so much for joining me today. Thank you so much for being here. Do not forget that you can catch replays of the EI classes. That is, it's going to end on Friday. And yes, Port Harcourt parents are going to be in Port Harcourt this weekend. I'm also going to be teaching in a church this weekend on Sunday. I'm looking forward to seeing you, inviting you. We're going to invite you to come to that, church, to come and listen to me. All right. You cannot recover from what happened over the weekend. How? They can't. All right. And we're going to hit Port Harcourt this weekend again. And it's that season where we are trying to, be in the states and honor all of the invitations of God people around the nations of the earth. Thank you so much for joining me today. And thank you for being here. You can always get copies of my books. All right. Reach out to that number that is scrolling and send a chat. All right. Thank you for being here, and see you tomorrow at 8 o'clock at my intentional parenting journey, where another yada will come and share their journey. And have an amazing day and enjoy all of the day. Somebody said this is your third class this morning. I've even done more sessions, which is not, I've done, more sessions in between. But the good thing is, when I rest, I enter my baby girl mode and shut up. So that's just it. Are you coming to PH with your books? No, I don't travel with books, by the way. We have books in Port Harcourt. We have books. I don't travel with books. And we have distributors all over. I don't even bring books when I'm coming to any city, because we have distributors in every city. If you want to get our books, just send a chat to this number and they will send you the distributor in your city. All right. So my book is already in your city. You don't need me to come to your city with it. Thank you, and do have an amazing day, guys.